Hello, friends. Good afternoon. I hope you are doing well with the blessing of God. And I've been playing guitar for a long time, almost about 5 years. But I'm learning guitar as a professional. I have a dream of performing on the international platform as a solo guitarist. And my journey as a guitarist has been very good. You know, by the end of 2027, December, I wish to give a solo performance on guitar on the international platform. And today I'm going to talk about one of the best guitarists of the world. It is James Marshall, very often known as Jimi Hendrix. Now, as we go into the history of Jimi Hendrix and his 10 famous songs which he produced before his death, he died at a very young age. He died on September 18th, 1970. Now, if you are a guitarist and if you don't talk about the best guitarist of the world, you are very much left in the crowd unnoticed. So today I'm going to pay my tribute to Sir Jimi Hendrix and talk about his performance, his lifestyle, his history, how he was inducted into the US Army as a punishment, and I'm going to talk about everything. So just sit down and listen to my, whatever I have to say about the great guitarist, Mr. Jimi Hendrix. He was not only a guitarist, he was a singer and a songwriter. So let me begin his history by telling Jimi Hendrix was, better known as James Marshall, and he was born on 27th of November 1942. And he is one of the best American guitarist, singer and a songwriter. He was widely regarded as one of the best and greatest guitarist and most influential guitarist of all times. He was inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1992 as a part of his band, the Jimi Hendrix Experience. The institution describes him as arguably the best instrumentalist in the history of rock music. So Jimi Hendrix began playing guitar at the age of 15. He enlisted in the US Army but was later discharged the following year. We will speak why he was discharged from the US Army. Soon afterwards, he moved to Clarksville, then Nashville, Tennessee, and began playing gigs on the Chitlin circuit, earning a place in the Ashley Brothers backing band and later with Little Richard, with whom he continued to work through mid-1965. He then played the circuit night and the Guitarist. So then later on, Jimi Hendrix moved to England in the late 1966 after Bassett Charles Chandler of the American Animals became his manager. So this person was Chandler was his manager. Okay, within months he formed the Jimi Hendrix Experience and achieved 3 UK top 10 hits when he moved to England. The 3 songs were Hey Joe, Purple Haze, and The Wind Cries Mary. He achieved his fame in US after his performance at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967. His third and final studio album Electric Ladyland, which was released in 1968, became his most successful release and his only #1 album on the US Billboard 200 chart. So Jimi Hendrix was one of the finest guitarists of all times. The world's highest paid rock musician, Jimi Hendrix headlined the Woodstock Festival in 1969, uh, and and he died in London, London on September 1970 at the age of 27. So Jimi Hendrix died at a very young age when he was just 27, and at the age of 27, most of the people these days, which we call Gen Z, they have lots of dream, but Jimi Hendrix died at the age of 27 on September 1970. Jimi Hendrix was inspired by American rock and roll and electric blues. We often hear most of his songs where he played the electric blues. Now, we often speak about his military service. So, before Hendrix was 19 years old, law authorities has twice caught him riding in a stolen car, and he was given a choice between prison or joining the army. He chose the latter and enlisted on May 31st, 1961 in the U.S. Army. After completing 8 weeks of basic training, he was assigned to the 101st Airborne Division and stationed at Fort Campbell in Kentucky. He arrived on November 8, and soon afterwards he wrote to his father, "There's nothing but physical training and harassment here for 2 weeks. Then when you go to jump school, you get help. They work with you to death, fusing and fighting." So Jimi Hendrix had a lot of troubles in the U.S. Army. There were a lot of fighting with him because he was not interested in serving the U.S. Army. Rather, he was interested much in music, songwriting, and playing guitar. In his next letter, Hendrix, who had left his guitar in Seattle at the home of his girlfriend Betty, he had a very supportive girlfriend, though there was a lot of quarrels and hassle in life as a girlfriend. So he had left his guitar at a place, and he told his father, to go there and get his guitar. His father obliged and sent on which Hendrix had painted the word Betty Jeans to Fort Campbell. So this is how he received this guitar. His apparent obsession with the instrument contributed to his neglect to his duties. He was more interested in, whatever your passion is, be much more interested in your passion rather than, people telling you to do this and do that. And Jimi Hendrix, one of the finest guitarists of the world, was much more interested in guitar rather than serving in the U.S. Army, which led to the taunting and physical abuse from his peer, who at least once hid his guitar. So his, people who were along with him in the U.S. Army hid his guitar until he had begged for his its return. So he had to do a lot of begging. Like people who reach to the highest, climax. They just don't reach in a time. There's a lot of obstacles, and there's a lot of harassment and a lot of pain when you have to achieve a goal in life. In November 1961, fellow serviceman Billy Cox walked past by the American Army and heard Jimi Hendrix playing guitar, and he was impressed by Hendrix technique, which Cox describes as a combination of Johnny Lee, Hooker and Beethoven. Hawks borrowed a bass guitar and the two jammed up, So Billy Fox was so impressed with him that he borrowed one of his guitar from his friend, and the two jammed up together, Within weeks, they began performing at bass club on the weekends and other musicians in the loosely organized band, the Casuals. So they had a band called Casual. Jimi Hendrix has been dead for 43 years now, but his music continues to sell at an incredible rate. So you might be dead, but your music is always immortal. So people have been hearing to his music for almost 43 years. He and when we speak of some of the 10 famous songs of Jimi Hendrix, the 10th song is Castle Made of Sand. The ninth one is Red House. Then we have Hey Joe, Bold as Love, The Wind Cries Mary, Purple Haze, Machine Gun, All Along the Watchtower, Little Wing, and we have this Voodoo Child, also known as slightly Return. Now, if we speak about the individual songs, which he played, and the history behind all the songs, Castle Made of Sand. So the Castle Made of Sand is a sad commentary on the fertility of life. The first verse is about the formerly loving couple reduced to a streaming drunken mess. The second is about a brave Indian chef who gets slaughtered in his sleep the night before a battle. So it also speaks about a brave Indian chef. It ends with a slightly more uplifting tale of the handicapped little girl who rolls her wheelchair to the cliff and nearly rolls it off until the sight of her golden big ship makes her reconsider. Many have argued that his song is Jimmy reflecting on the painful memories from his childhood, including the parents' separation and his mother's illness. Though Hendrix himself never confirmed about that. But in this song, people say that most of the things which gets reflected in this song is about Jimi Hendrix's painful life and his mother's illness. But he has not spoken on all this. This is the assumption of people. And the ninth song, which it was a Red House. This traditional blues number is one of the first songs that Hendrix recorded with the Experience. Now we know the Jimi Hendrix formed his own band, Jimi Hendrix Experience. It first appeared on this debut LP as he experienced, but Jimmy had been fiddling with it for about 2 years by that point, drawing inspiration from Albert King, Jimmy Reed, and Curtis Knight. So Jimmy was very much inspired by many people in his life. The song is the most straight ahead blues song in the Hendrix catalog and was a staple of his set list until the very end. The song grew and grew as a year went by and became a fan favorite, even though the label originally kept it off the American release of RU Experience because it was deemed too bluesy for US rock fans. So this was about the Red House. Now the other song which was Hey Joe. Hey Joe is the Jimi Hendrix first single, though he didn't actually write. He didn't write it. It is a garage rock standard popularized by the California band The Leaves in 1966. So though most rock fans completely forgot their retention when they heard Hendrix take on it. It is pretty sordid tale of a man who caught his wife cheating. So it speaks about a man whose wife has been cheating, shot her to death, and then headed down to Mexico. So this man, whose wife had been cheating, he shot her to death and headed to Mexico. Former Animal Bassett Charles Chandler caught a largely unknown Hendrix playing the song at the New York Cafe in 1966 and brought him over to England to cut his debut album. So in 1966 he produced his debut album. The next year were a slew of recording session, concert, and concert. So following years there were a lot of concerts. Now the next song which I'll be picking upon is Bold as Love. Jimi Hendrix was just about the hottest thing in rock music when he stepped into the studio to begin his second LP, the Axis, Bold as Love. In the summer of 1976, a group had to work quickly because they owned the label, the second disc, before the year ended. Bold as Love is the 4-minute grand finale and easily one of the highlights of the whole album. So this is one of the best songs of the album. The song is about how love can change a person's life. Long songs have a lot of influence on your life. It can change a person's attitude. This song is about how love can change a person's life, like the axis of the earth. Hendrix said in 1968 in a radio interview, if it changes well, it changes the whole face of the earth. Like every few thousand years, it's like love in the human being. If he really falls in deep enough, it will change him. So this is what Jimi Hendrix had told. It might change the whole life, whole life. So both of them can easily go together. So Jimi Hendrix was more of a philosopher also, rather than a guitarist, singer and a songwriter. So he was a very a gentleman. Now the second song, the sixth song which we talk about, Jimi Hendrix, was one of the famous songs, is The Wind Cries Mary. Jimi Hendrix wrote The Wind Cries after getting into a terrible fight with his girlfriend. So as we have told that no life is like a cakewalk. He had many fights with his girlfriend, Katie. I hit him with a frying pan. Katie hit him with a frying pan. We smashed the kitchen up. It was a horrible argument. She couldn't quite recall why they were fighting. So Katie, who was Jimi Hendrix's girlfriend, she couldn't recall why they were fighting, but she thought it might have been because she cooked with a dirty pan. So the band spent hours in the studio working on the song, though they eventually went with the very first take. It was the group third single. So this song was The Wind Cries Mary, was the group's third single song. Now when we go on to the other song, which is one of the most famous songs of Jimi Hendrix, The Purple Haze. Jimi Hendrix's career gained a lot of tantrum with his first single, Hey Joe, but it was the follow-up, Purple Haze, that truly made him a superstar. So this was the song, The Purple Haze, which made him a superstar. The song hit number 65 on the US Hot 100 and had kids all across the country playing a guitar in the mirror. So this in 19 when this song was produced, people were more into playing more guitar. Many people claim the title is a clear reflection or reference of LSD. So many people criticize Jimi Hendrix that he wanted to promote drugs and LSD in US, but Hendrix claimed it was inspired by a dream he had in which he was walking underneath the sea. So this was a song which was inspired by when he was walking, he had a dream that he was walking in the sea. So that may be true, but he had little insensitive to admit any song was about drugs. So he had not admitted that in his interview that it was all about drugs, since it could have been immediately banned from the radio. Whatever the truth, the song also has one of the most misheard lines in the rock history. His singing, excuse me while I kiss the sky, and not excuse me while I kiss the guys. So this was what was misunderstood by people, and we should not have any misconception about Jimi Hendrix. The fourth song which I'm going to speak about is the Machine Gun. The Machine Gun was recorded at the height of the Vietnam War, and is one of the most anti-war song of the era. So this was a song which Jimi Hendrix sung it when the Vietnam War was going on. The Vietnam War was fought between US and Vietnam. It also one of the longest clocking in at well over 12 minutes. So this song is about 12, occasionally going past 20 in concert. The version on Brand of Gypsy was cut on New Year's Day in 1970 and contains one of the most haunting guitar work of Jimi Hendrix career. So this song, the Machine Gun, is the most haunting guitar work of Jimi Hendrix in his career. By the end, it sounds almost like an actual machine gun. And drummer, he had a drummer also, Buddy Miles. Background vocal sounds like a scream of a battlefield. So he played background vocal sounds like a scream of a battlefield. It was. If there were still any doubt about the song message, it was dedicated most nice to the soldiers overseas. This song also was dedicated to the soldiers overseas, the Machine Gun. And the last song which I will speak upon is All Along the Watchtower. And after this, I will speak on one more song which Jimi Hendrix produced, was the Little Wing. Jimi Hendrix may be one of the most successful rock star of all time to only have a single song rank in the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. It also not even a song that he wrote. He even possibly calls Hendrix one hit wonder. So though that's pretty bankers. Jimi Hendrix, All Along the Watchtower in 1968. This came about in 1960, just week after Bob first released the track on John Wesley Harding. Hendrix tinkered with its mouth, eventually releasing it in September. So this was a song which was released in September in 1968. It found a much larger audience than the original, and even Hendrix took the song to the whole other place. Now this was a song which was one of the best songs of Jimi Hendrix, and you should go on Google and search this song, All Along the Watchtower. Now the last song which we are going to speak about is the Little Wing. Jimi explained the backstory to Little Wings in 1968 interview with a writer. It's based on a very, very simple Indian style, he said. I got the idea when he was in Monterey and was just looking at everything around. So I figured that I can take everything I would see around and put it maybe in a form of a girl, something like that, and call it a little wing. So he imagined around him, and whatever he gathered, he put it inside a little girl, and he called it a little girl. So this was what I wanted to speak about Jimi Hendrix. If you like it, do give a thumbs up and write a comment on what else could I speak about on Jimi Hendrix. Though this is not a very scripted, podcast which I wanted to make upon Jimi Hendrix. I just spoke what I knew about it, and the rest just came into my mind. And if you like my channel, Satya, Sanatan, Mahadev, Guitarist, and would like me to speak on more on the best guitarist of the world, do write to me, and I will prepare on many other guitarists and show the world the biography of these people. So I hope you will not forget to subscribe to my channel. If you like my video, please do subscribe to my channel. Your small appreciation is a big motivation to us. So with this, I would like to end my the life history which I have spoken about Jimi Hendrix. And thank you very much. I hope you have a good time. Thank you. Have a nice day.